This is where truth and vulnerability are put on the altar. Fear and failures are celebrated as they should be. And we unapologetically peel back all the layers. Welcome to Bare Naked Radio. It's time to get raw, real, and inspired with your host, Dawn Gluskin.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bare Naked Radio. I am your host, Dawn Gluskin, and today I am so excited to welcome our guest, a friend of mine, Marty Ward. Say hello, Marty.
Hello, everyone.
So good to have you here.
Thank you. I love being here with you, Dawn. You do such a wonderful work.
Oh, thank you so much. And the pleasure is mine to have you here. So Marty is a friend of mine, and she's up to some really big things, making a difference around the world. She's actually just getting ready to go on a trip to Africa as part of her nonprofit organization. She's based here in Central Florida, and she shares her passion to empower adults and children so that no situation, no person can steal their confidence. Instead, she wants them to believe in themselves so much that they stay their course through all obstacles, fulfill their dreams, and get what they want. She does this through her empowerment programs for entrepreneurs and also her nonprofit organization for children, Confidence Eliminates Bullying. So just love what you're up to in the world, Marty. Love what you stand for, and just really excited to get to talk to you today.
Well, I'm looking forward to being with you and answering your questions and providing some valuable information to your audience.
Yes, absolutely. So let's just get right into it. Let's talk about you and why you do what you do and how you got started. You know, you have not only your business of coaching and empowerment programs for entrepreneurs, but you set out and started a nonprofit organization specifically to help children, and you're identifying the issues with bullies. And it's not only the bullies on the outside, but the bully in our own head that you talk about. So how did this become your mission? And just give us a little background, how you got where you are today and what gets you out of bed in the morning and keeps you going. Because it's not always an easy thing to do, right? Juggling all this work and being an entrepreneur and everything that comes with it.
That's right. Being an entrepreneur is the greatest growth choice you could ever make.
Amen.
Well, it's interesting. Everything, as we know, Don, everything in life happens for a reason that we don't often understand. But I was an entrepreneur and had been on my journey of going from being worth over $1 million to having $7 in my bank account after being a successful yacht broker and running a sailing school for 10 years on the Hudson River, and had my 100-ton captain's license and run a nonprofit organization, all the success.
Yeah.
And I had the rug pulled out from underneath me one too many times, and I couldn't find myself. So I ended up going on a journey. And one day I unlocked my creative potential because I was about to walk out the door and make one more deal. And I stopped and realized that I was out of integrity with myself. And that day I sat down and I did what I denied myself the pleasure of doing for 10 years, which is to write the first book that I published. And it was like 12 hours straight of writing. I never stopped. And I looked up and went, oh my Lord, it's dark. And I looked at the clock and it was midnight. And I tell that as background because what happened is that one day I was on the internet, and then I turned my life and business around, and I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs to be able to do the same and to increase their income 10 to even 500% in just 3 months.
Well, can I pause you just for a second here? Because I want to really let this sink in for our listeners. So here's Marty. She has $1 million, she's a high successful yacht broker. She's, has all this great stuff going on in her life. And then life happens, and I think you had started multiple businesses, and it took over time. But at some point you came to a point in your life where all you had was $7 left in your bank account. So I want everyone to really hear that, how she was up so high and then her world slowly started crumbling and crashing down. And it sounds like what kind of helped pull you out of that darkness was listening to that inner voice that you had always wanted to write this book, right? Is that
right?
Yeah. And so you finally listened to that book and locked yourself in a room for 12 hours and it happened. And was that sort of your pivotal moment when things started turning back around for you? Or?
Yes. Yeah. That was the pivotal moment. And what I did is I unlocked my creative potential.
Mm.
And I realized that that is one of the main keys in success as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a human being, is that when we shut down that creative energy force, we become what's known as depressed
Mm.
because we're pushing down our power,
Yeah.
as I said. And so I unlocked it. And that was the beginning of turning my life and my business around so that I could help other people to unlock where they were stuck and struggling. And I became the kiss procrastination goodbye expert because I figured out I got my PhD in procrastination.
Mhm.
And so on my journey. And so I realized, Dawn, so many times we're told to, just love yourself and
Right.
come on, Marty, believe in yourself. And you want to go, if you'll forgive me, no shit, Sherlock.
Right? Easy
Really,
to
right?
say.
Yeah, exactly. We all know to do
Right.
that, but no one ever taught us.
Mm.
But what I did is I figured it out. I figured out that by tapping into your talents, your abilities, and your gifts, which is the core essence of who you are, that you can actually feel fulfilled, satisfied, nurtured, supported, and be able to really have that joy of pleasure of success.
Yeah. And on the show on Bare Naked Radio, we often talk about what we call living somebody else's dream. The number one deathbed regret is people always look back at their life on those final hours and like, if they could do anything differently, what they most commonly say is, I wish I had lived a life true to myself instead of the life that others had wished for me. And it sounds like during that time when your life was sort of taking the downward spiral towards the $7 in the bank account, you were doing all the other things probably that other people wanted you to do, not listening to that inner voice. And when you finally trued up to your creativity, like you're saying, your real talents, your abilities, your gifts, that was what kind of unlocked the key for you to love yourself. Like you said, no shit, I know I'm supposed to do that, but the how was just being true to
Right.
yourself, right? Is that what the hidden message in there?
Well, in addition, it is being true to yourself, but it's really defining what makes Dawn Dawn, what
Mm,
makes Marty Marty.
yeah,
It's we have ingredients. So if you're making a cake, you have the flour, you have the butter, you have the egg, right? And then one person might add chocolate, another person might add
right.
carrots, right? And so we all come in with the talents, abilities, and gifts, which, as I say, is the core essence of who we are.
Mm,
And then from that we are the flavor that we decide that we make, so that your talent is in connecting, communication, writing, self-expression,
yeah.
storytelling, and your abilities are creative, inventive, imaginative, analytical, intuitive, good listener, compassionate, determined, um, and many more. And then the gift that you give is combining your talent and your ability, which is to have a podcast that inspires, motivates, brings people together, helps people to get to the next level of their business, to have them tell their story so they feel valued and seen for who they are.
Such a
So the
beautiful acronym there, TAG, talents, abilities, gifts, because then you just walked us through it. Your talents are, what you're good at. Your abilities is what makes you good at it. And your gift is that the gift to the world that you bring. And we all have that. And I love that you use the flavor metaphor, because what happens a lot of the times I see people coming, they're out in the world as sort of a watered down, quote unquote, vanilla version of themselves of who they really are. But you're sort of giving people permission to dive in and ask the question, like, who really am I? What really do I bring to the table? And then stepping into that. And I think that's beautiful work. And it's how people learn to love themselves and really put who they are in the world. So I love everything that you're up to and everything you've said here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's what I've realized is your tags are what makes you somebody. We all want to be somebody. And your tags, you already have the magic inside. You already have the somebody
Yeah.
inside. And it's you really stepping into that,
Owning it. Yeah, absolutely.
because that's what makes you you and me. And it makes our children who they are.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're so
and
good with the children too. I want to just acknowledge you for that. Marty and her organization, Confidence Eliminates Bullying. and you go around to the schools and you talk to the children and the parents and the teachers. And she has an interview series. You interviewed my daughter the other night, and just want to tell a quick story. My daughter's a singer and she's a little shy on camera. Sometimes she has her moments, but right before the interview, she's like, Mom, I'm not going to sing on the show. And then, after a few minutes with Marty was like, well, would you like to sing a little? And she was like, okay, sure. And she did. And it was beautiful. So you really have a way with children, and what you do works because you just really bring that out of them. So I wanted to acknowledge you for that. And that's a good segue too, to kind of tell us, how did this get born? So you started your own business. You started out working with entrepreneurs. And then at some point you decided, I'm going to start a nonprofit too, right? Because you didn't have enough going on. You wanted more stuff to do, but there was a deeper calling. So let's talk about that.
That was what happened is, as life will, is that I was out on the internet one day and I bumped into an article about a little girl named Ashlyn Connor. She was 10 years old. She was a cheerleader. She was an A student. And that day she decided not to go to school because she didn't want to confront the bully one more time. And instead of going to school, she killed herself. And I said, enough. I screamed it in my house. I said, enough. Not another bright light of a child needs to be snuffed out. I have an answer, and I can't stand it any longer. And that day I went and bought the URL, Creating Confident Kids to Eliminate Bullying. And a few years later, it became the nonprofit Confidence Eliminates Bullying, as I was developing programs and reaching out to schools. And so the difference is, Dawn, is that I realized that with all the anti-bullying, stop bullying, get rid of the bully, a couple of things are happening. One of which is that we're bullying the bully. So we're not setting any.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then the stopping, right, is
right. Yeah. As you go, whatever you resist persists.
Exactly.
What you fight against grows. So the more we focus on bullying and stopping bullying and all of the rest, of course, what's happened is it's grown and grown and is now over the top.
Right. We're not getting to the root cause either.
Well, you can't stop the bully from saying or doing whatever they want to say or do. And tragically, you can't stop someone with a gun either. And, or someone who wants to use a gun, shall I say. And so it's really about looking within and developing who the child is, developing their emotional intelligence. And what I realized is that what we needed to do is focus on what we want, not on what we don't want. So what we want is confident kids, which is why it's Confidence Eliminates Bullying. And, we have leaders, and there's only a few leaders that have turned the tide of history. And those were Gandhi, Mother Teresa,
Martin Luther King,
Mandela. And what they did is they focused on what they wanted. They did not fight against what they didn't want.
Yes, beautiful.
And Mother Teresa famously said, someone said, Mother Teresa, come to the war protest. And Mother Teresa said, oh no, I would never go to a war protest, but I would always go to a peace rally.
Yes.
And that's the essence of what I do is I focus on what we want.
Yes.
By doing that, you help to decrease the impact that the bully's words and deeds have on children, because they have more resilience, more emotional intelligence. And by knowing and tagging them for success every day, by telling them how talented, able, and gifted they are every day, even as you discipline them, you can tag them for success.
Yeah.
And by doing that, what we're doing is doing what everybody wants. We see them for who they are.
I love it. And you such a good point there. Yes, absolutely. Focus on what we want more of in the world. Like what do you want? Be that change instead of fighting. And there's so much fighting going on in the political world, online, people fight over their religion, on their worldviews. Everything's a fight, but there's a much more powerful way to go about bringing change into the world. And that's, like you said, focusing on what you want to see. So going to that peace rally instead of protesting war. And even the language differences are really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll give you an example, or what were you going to ask?
Well, I was going to ask if you could take us back to that moment when you're on the internet and you read this article, and it was about a young girl, and oh my gosh, 10 years old. That just breaks my heart because I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I can't even imagine having, whatever she was going through to make her think ending her life, this girl that you were reading about, was the only answer. And you said her name was it Ashley?
Ashlyn.
Ashlyn.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
but this child was not someone that you knew personally, yet for some reason, when you read that article, you were like, enough, like something inside of you woke up and said, I have the answer. I need to do something about it. So can you maybe talk a little bit about that? Like what was underneath that inspired you? And for our listeners out there that have ever gotten that call, like they just felt so impassioned about something, they wanted to make a difference. And what got you into action that day?
Mm. Well, I didn't realize it for quite a while, Dawn. I'm glad you asked. But I've been bullied almost my entire life.
Mm.
And I didn't see it that way until I realized it. I have a very loving, supportive, very, very supportive, caring family. And my siblings didn't know that I believed what they were saying about me.
Mm.
So there was the three of them, 8, 10, and 5 years older than me. And then there was Marty. And so it was like there was them, and then there was Marty.
Yeah.
So logically, we all understand intellectually. I'm 5, they're 10.
Right.
I'm 10, they're 15. I mean, we get it now. But it was the fact of that, and the bully's greatest strength is leaving you out, not including you, because then you wonder what's wrong with you. And so that's, and then they would say, you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm.
And a lot of it, to be honest with you, when you look at it as a mature adult, is that they were trying to protect me. They didn't want me to put myself out there and be hurt.
Right.
And there was a lot of reasons in their mind that they were doing it. And as I say, they could not be more, they love me very much and they care about me very much. And they've supported me immensely financially. And it's just, I believe them. And when I got that concept that it's because we believe the bully that we're hurt, that was life changing.
Yeah.
My antagonist became my protagonist. And I want you to note the word tag in the middle of both.
Beautiful.
My antagonists have me develop my talents, my abilities, and my gifts, and became my protagonist, because without that depth, that power, that knowledge, I couldn't do the job I do in the way in which I do and have the impact that I do, because I would be doing it from a book.
Yeah.
Lived
Well,
it.
there's so many gems in what you just said there. So for one thing, like stuff isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. So all the stuff in our life, if we go back in our lives and we look at all of the heartache and the hurt and all the things, the quote unquote bad things that happen to us, most of the time, if we get in alignment of who we are and what we're meant to be doing on this work, we can find that our mess does become our message, that we can take everything that we've overcome in our lifetime and we can overcome it. And then we can turn around and we can teach it to others, which you have demonstrated so beautifully in the work that you're doing. And it's interesting too, how, it all oftentimes it goes back to our childhood. And of course your siblings are just being siblings, that's like kind of like the older sibling's job is you pick on the younger sibling, like that. They were just playing their roles so beautifully. Right. But as children, especially, we take things so personal and we make them mean things about us. And a lot of times when people do transformational work as an adult, you have to go back to what happened when I was 5 or when I was 7 that made me believe what I believe now and work through that. And that's what you've done. And I love it. And I love that, there's no blame and there's no victim in your story. It's what happened. And now you're taking all that pain and the heartache that you've lived through and you've turned it around as a gift to the world. And there's so much power in that. And we all have our own version of that. And tapping into that is beautiful. So good job doing the work.
Thank you. Yeah. 2 points I want to make. One is that then I realized that that's what happened when the rug got pulled out from under me, when I went from a successful yacht broker. And what happened is I went to Miami because I was going to be a multimillionaire with those big boats. Man, I was going to be hot.
Right.
I failed. I sold 3 boats in 2 years. And in Annapolis, I was selling 10 boats in a month. So when that happened, I couldn't find myself. And I kept looking for the answer outside of myself. I kept scrambling and wanting to be included. I wanted to be included because I wasn't included. So I wanted to be included. I wanted to feel important. I wanted to feel like a leader. I wanted to body. I was looking outside of me for all the answers. And I always say, we want the helicopter to take us from where we are to where we want to be without doing the work in between.
Right. And we all want that quick fix. Yeah.
Quick fix. And as I always say, if there were helicopters, I could have bought 2 of them. There are no helicopters. So stop looking, because it's right inside of you. And so then I realized the impact that the bullying had actually had on me, and how I've seen it, and I've been a school-based social worker, I've been a teacher. And so I had seen it as, when I was a teacher, what happened for kids, and as a school-based social worker before I knew what I know now, but I must have known something, because I made the bully the mentor. I created a mentor program, and I made the bully the mentor.
That's smart.
Yeah. When I made the bully the mentor, the discipline problem dropped.
Yeah. No one had probably ever believed in him before. And
Exactly.
you give him that confidence.
Yeah, the bully wants to be the hero.
Well, you have so many good ideas. And so so we have a lot of parents out there listening, or aunts, uncles, grandparents, people that are around children or with children. And so you talk about sometimes like some of the behavior you'll see with a parent in the grocery store and how they're with their kids. And of course they're doing their best, but you see it as that, like, oh, they're getting their spirit crushed. And can you maybe talk to that, like what you witness and what would be a better way to handle a situation instead?
Well, the time that I think as parents, and I've been one, and my kids would love to tell you stories about me. We've all done this. Right. So I have no judgment.
Right. Of course.
I have no, we've all been there. Mm-hmm. But
parenting is not an easy job. I can attest to that. Yeah. We all do our best.
We all do our best, but sometimes we suck.
Right. Absolutely.
And to own it. And so I had to, where I did, I had to own it. And so the thing I think when we do the most damage to our children is when we think that someone else is looking at us and judging us as bad parents. And when we think that, then we usually lash out at our children, call them names, put them down, yell at them, and are just so cruel. So I'm in the grocery store, and I was watching this mother with her child, and the child was, having a good time and little, full of energy.
Right, just like a kid is, right? That's what they do.
Right? And she was doing great. I thought, oh, isn't it nice? She's such a good mom. Mom, let me get it. And she lowered it so he could reach it. And, I thought, oh, isn't this wonderful? Oh, it's so nice to see a good mom. She's letting me participate. And so then she was talking or something, and the cart was pulled over to the side, and the child was there. And he was standing a little bit in front of the cart, and I went to just go by. And she yelled at him. I mean, like yelled at him, get out of the way, get out of the way.
Right.
And I burst into tears by the time I got on the other side. Yeah. Because what makes us think that I have rights over the space when a child is standing in their space? Why do I have a right bigger than their right? And I see it all the time. Parents pull on the arm of a child to get them out of another person's way. No, they have a right to be who they are, stand where they are, and the other person can go around them.
I agree 100%. I think our job as parents is really as guides more. It's not like an ownership thing, or it's not like it's an object, but we're just here to guide them and help them, make the best decisions to become the best humans that they can. And yeah, it is a little soul crushing as a child when you're told, to be quiet or get out of the way or get yelled at, all those things. It takes a toll on the psyche, and it does a lot for their self-esteem. So I get it too. And I'm really sensitive to that as well. So I'm glad that you speak about it. And of course, I'm not a perfect parent, but I try my best. And when I do have my moments, I always apologize and say, I'm human too. And sometimes you drive your mom crazy, but I really try to honor them and help them be who they are. And I love that you're drawing attention to it, because like you said, we're all just doing our best. And when we know better, we do better.
Exactly. And your daughter is a wonderful testament to how well you have done with
thank you.
Doing her book. And she's a singer and a writer and a leader, and has had wonderful words of wisdom. You have to check out. Yeah, she really was a delight to talk to, and she was just herself, and she felt confident and secure. And so she's a testament to you giving her the space to be who she is. And so it's really important. That's why I teach teachers. It's one thing for me. I go in and I teach the kids about their talents, their abilities and gifts, and they're so excited and they're thinking, they write me cute thank you notes to say, oh, thank you for having me believe in myself. Thank
Aw.
you for letting me know I really can be a singer. And thank you for letting me know what to say to the bully. And they go on and on. And I have been in so many classrooms where I'm packing up my stuff and leaving, and the kids are all happy
Mm.
and in line, and the teacher yells at them.
Mm.
They just collapse. Their
Yeah.
bodies in on themselves. And so
And God bless the
I,
teachers. They're doing their best too. And, we all know that they're underpaid and overworked and yeah. And they could also know better and do better.
well, they just need more
Yeah.
tools. They just need more tools. They don't understand. They don't understand. And that's the thing that I do with teachers is help them to understand what it is and why they do that. Because we need to be emotionally intelligent. We're talking about being parenting.
Mm.
We need to know how we're feeling. And I help people to decode their feelings, I call it, so that they understand that they're feeling inadequate, not good enough, never going to make it. And what we say to our children when we're feeling that way can be just
Oh,
crushing to the
yeah.
child.
Absolutely.
Instead of realizing, oh, I'm feeling not good enough as a parent in this moment, let me take a deep breath and say, you know what, sweetheart, I don't really know what to say to you at this moment.
Yeah.
You and I need to take a break, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to discuss this further.
And I heard you give a great example once, like of, little Susie's dancing on the couch, right? And the parent doesn't want her dancing on the couch. Like what would be the right thing to say or the most powerful thing to say versus something that might be more of that soul crushing. So we can hear a good example.
So it's a good, and it's also, again, we're going to tag the child for success. So you see the child bouncing on the couch and you've told them 200 times what to do.
Right.
And you say, wow, look at how athletic you are. Look at how high you can bounce. Bouncing is for the floor.
Mm.
And they get down. They look at you like deer in the headlights every time. Because you saw them, all they were doing is expressing themselves. Yeah. They were not trying to damage your couch. They were not trying to ruin your day. They were not anything that you said that they were doing.
Right.
They were being themselves, having fun. And when you see them for who they are, I promise you, they cooperate.
I love that.
So I think the other example you were kind of combining there was when I was teaching 45 kids at an elementary school. And you can imagine, we were outside. And so you can imagine what that was like. And so 3 kids kept spinning away from the group.
Mm.
And I said all the things, you don't deserve to be here, go inside, all those things. And I said to them, could you 3 spinning dancers spin your way over here and join us? And deer in the headlights, all 3 looked up at me and then walked over and never moved a muscle the rest of the time.
Wow.
Because
we just all want to be seen, even adults. That's what we just want. It's like we just want to be seen for who we are and loved for who we are.
And that's it. And accepted for who we are. Instead of being judged and condemned and put down and, whatever we do in those moments and think it's all about us. It's got nothing to do with us. They're just being who they are.
Yeah. So I invite any parents that are listening, next time, try this out. Try to, as per Marty's suggestion, first identify their talents and what they're doing, and you're doing this so well. And like she said, with the couch, can you bounce your way, bouncing for the floor? Try something like that and see how it works. And you can share with us too. We have the Naked Soul Tribe on Facebook, and let us know how it goes. And I certainly take that advice to heart, and I use it with my children. And I can tell you, it works like a charm. But so Marty, you're going to Africa, which is so exciting. So tell us, what's going on there?
Well, there's another story.
Oh, sure.
So about 3 years ago, I get an email, or 3 or 4, I'm not even sure now, 3 or 4 years ago, I get an email from a man named Pastor Booney Alex. And he says, I found your book in the garbage. I want to know more about what you do.
Wow. Found your book in the garbage. That's destiny right there.
Destiny.
Yeah.
And so another story. Mm-hmm. And so from there, I'm going to Africa. He has our program in 10 schools. It's very successful. Parents are even thanking the teachers because the kids are cooperating more at home. More kids are coming to school. because they're not avoiding school. Because, Dawn, I don't know if you know, but over 100,000 kids a day in the United States don't go to school out of fear of confronting the bully.
Wow.
And so guess what? Kids are kids. In Africa, they do the same
Absolutely.
thing.
And they have all other problems over there that we don't even have here. And yeah.
Well, and not going to school is one
Right.
because of the bullying.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
more kids are coming to school consistently. Parents are thanking them. Teachers are getting along better. Parents are getting along better. It works. And so I'm going to be speaking with 5,000 kids and 1,000 parents, teachers, and religious leaders when I'm there to give them more in-depth training on the work that I do. And I am just so humbled and so joyous, to go and to have this experience. And I just, it's amazing.
It is amazing. And I just want to take it all back to, that Marty listened to her heart. That one day she's on the internet. She said, she saw that article. She said, no more. She thought about her childhood and what she had been through and the programs she's created. And it's just been like a snowball effect. And it just keeps growing and growing. And the impact you're making, those 5,000 people you're going to be in front of in Africa, and then the thousands of people that they're going to impact. And, your legacy is just going to continue to grow and grow. And I know it's never about you. It's about all the people that you serve. So it's just beautiful.
Right.
And for everyone that's listening that has that inkling, that calling of their own, that change they want to make in the world, just get into action and just keep showing up every day. And like Marty, next thing you know, from $7 in the bank to despair to now she's going to impact thousands and thousands of lives. And we all have that capability within us. And probably back those many years ago, Marty, you would never dream that this is where you'd be today. But look at you now. It's beautiful.
I mean, when I was sitting there trying to figure out how I was going to put gas in the car, I wasn't exactly thinking about that, and Dawn, it's interesting because what happened, I went to Egypt back in, I don't know, 2007, 8, somewhere in that, 11, somewhere in there. And I was gifted to be in the top of the king's chamber of the pyramid.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, oh my Lord. So that I was in the king's chamber, and there's only two things in the king's chamber. There is a sarcophagus and there is the dehumidifier. And each of us took turns lying in the sarcophagus and met. So I get in the sarcophagus, and the image comes of me in a white gown with 1,000 children.
Oh, wow.
And
you had a vision, a
I
divine
had a
vision. That's beautiful.
And I wasn't working with the kids yet.
Wow.
So when Booney sent me my itinerary, the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, when I got to the fifth, it said, you are going to be standing at the headwaters of the Nile.
Wow.
And I burst into tears, but I didn't know why that moment. I kept saying, why am I crying? Why am I crying? Well, 2 days later, I remembered my
that
vision.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. So I bought the white dress.
I love it.
I'm going to have 1,000 children, and then I'm going to have 4,000. So I'm going to have 1,000 at my feet and then 4,000.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see the pictures of that and hear all about your journey. And
so fabulous. And we're also bringing water filters for the kids. We're looking for sponsorships of the water filters. We have want to give one water filter per school plus a soccer ball. So we call it Clean Water, Clean Fun. And the water will make 300 gallons of fresh water or clean water every day for 10 years.
Wow. What a gift.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Am I allowed to say if people want
to? Oh,
absolutely.
Sure.
Sponsor?
Sure.
Yeah. So go to fundraiser. It's spelled strangely. Fundraiser, FUNDRAZR.com /tag, TAG, the number 4 change. So fundraiser.com /tag 4 change with the number 4.
Yeah. And any amount. And I know what we take for granted, having fresh water is something that's a bit of a luxury over in Africa. So, what was it for? I think it was $100 or something.
It's $250 to sponsor school.
To get to sponsor a whole school to have fresh water. So if that's calling to you and you're inspired by Marty's message and you want to be a part of that, definitely go to that link. And all of the links will be on barenakedradio.com, the show links and more information on Marty. And Marty, I just absolutely love what you're up to. I love how you've turned your life around. You've turned your quote unquote mess into your message. And now you're impacting thousands of children around the world. And you're just such an inspiration, and would love to talk to you all day, but it's time, that part of the show where we have to start wrapping it up. So we've listed your fundraiser page. And if people are like vibing with your message and want to learn more about you, where else can they find you on social media, or what's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, at my website, we have confidenceeliminatesbullying.com is one website, and martylward.com is another way. And so martylward.com. And then on social media, it's, at Confidence Eliminates Bullying is our Facebook page. And it's Marty L. Ward is my other Facebook page.
Fabulous. And like I said, all those links will be on barenakedradio.com as well. You can click on Marty's show and learn more about her and what she's up to. And like I said, we can't wait to see some of those pictures, especially the white dress. What a beautiful image. Just love what you're up to. Keep it on. And thank you so much for being our guest today.
And thank you so much. And if anybody wants their child interviewed, just let me know.
Oh yeah, she does a fantastic job. So for those of you who follow me on Facebook, you could go see Callista's interview or go on to Marty's website, and she's got them all listed, and she does a great job, and it's so amazing. The kids just are beaming with light, because they get to do an interview like they see their parents do, and it's just really, really cool. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Bare Naked Radio. We invite you to join us in the Naked Soul Tribe on Facebook and sound off about this episode. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you connect with your host at Dawn Gluskin on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All show notes and links are accessible on barenakedradio.com.